Ladies and gentlemen, I am Sherman D. Manning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning on the West Coast. Those of you on the East Coast, good afternoon. Those of you in Switzerland, etc., good night. I am Sherman D. Manning. I am happy to be alive, glad to be free, glad to be I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. God bless all of you all. Let's talk about it today. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I'm sorry. I know this is not a religious program, but I just want to get this off my chest. This is the day which the Lord hath made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. God is an awesome God. I don't know how you all feel about him, but I love him with all of my heart, my soul, my mind, my body, and my spirit. And I don't only love God, I love his people. I love his children. One of the things I've always found kind of strange is there's a lot of us who claim to love God, but we hate our brothers. We love God, but we hate white folks. We love God, but we hate black folks, or we hate Mexicans, or whoever the case might be. And so, if you're going to love God, you ought to love his children also. His children might act crazy sometimes, and we, his children, might have issues. And I know I have my own, but baby, I still love you. Listen, this is the day which the Lord hath made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Let's talk a minute about justice. Let's talk about justice and wrongful convictions. Let's talk about the fact that every time we wrongly convict a person, every time we send the wrong person to prison for a crime, that means that the right person gets away with it, which means that threatens public safety. A lot of times we don't think about that. So wrongful convictions are a threat to public safety. If a woman was raped and we lock up, arrest, and convict the wrong man, then that means that the right man, you understand what I'm saying? And so it is a threat to public safety. We have got to do something about wrongful convictions in this great country of ours. And I'm tired of hearing about this is the best system we know and all of that other good stuff. Well, let's know something differently. Southern Bell was a long time the best system that we knew. But then came the internet. Then came flip phones. Then came cell phones. Then came Skype. And, a lot of other technological advances that we have been able to make. So we cannot allow ourselves to be limited by some pat answer about the best system we know. Let us tinker with the system and improve the system with every technological advance known to mankind. I'm always for advancing, getting better, growing, knowing, going forward. That is what I'm about. And that is what I think we ought to be about as a society. Let me read something to you all if I have it here. Okay. And yeah, I just found this. I'm actually looking for something else. And stumble upon this, and we're going to read it to you. I'll read this to you. Attorney Robert D. Blazier was on the O.J. Simpson Dream Team. He's a very good friend of mine. I love Bob dearly. This is the foreword to my book, Bad Boys, that he wrote. It says, Sherman D. Manning is, quoting now, Sherman D. Manning is a master writer and author. His book, KKK, Kids Killing Kids, is one of the most important and gripping books ever written for at-risk teens. I am amazed and fascinated by Sherman's ability to transform the jangling discords of a dark prison cell into an oasis of hope and instruction for youths. I'm greatly moved and inspired by the potential of KKK to become a classic. I'm an attorney with 40 years of practice. I'm a graduate of Harvard Law School and a former prosecutor. I was on the Dream Team with Johnny Cochran in the O.J. Simpson murder trial. I am keenly aware of the trials and tribulations our youngsters face. In Sacramento, a young lady was murdered at a barbershop while shielding her 2-year-old son from rampant gang gunfire. Time and again, our kids are bullied, beaten, battered, and murdered. A congresswoman in Arizona was shot in the head by a 22-year-old youngster who murdered 6 other people at the same time. We need KKK, and we need this brand new book, Bad Boys. From the loneliness of a prison cell, Sherman continues his efforts to inspire all of us in an effort to stop this man. Yourself a copy of my book, Kids Killing Kids. If you know any youngster who is at a turning point or in crisis in his life, I want to talk to them about why they don't want to go to jail, why they do not want to go to prison. Prison destroys any and everything it comes in contact with, from staff members on down to the inmates themselves. It is a horrible, evil, wicked place to be. And I don't want to see I wouldn't wish prison on my worst enemies, to be quite frank with you. And I've said time and again, and I will continue to say, that there are some guys I met in prison who should not be there. And I also have admitted to you that there are guys I met in prison that if they got out, or if I found out they were out, I'd run the other way. You understand? I would run the other way. So not everybody is wrongly convicted, and not everybody should get out. But we should never send a man to prison for a crime which he or she did not commit. And we need to do something about wrongful convictions in this country. Let me give a shout out to Jackie. Jackie is the young lady who is a senior at Loyola Marymount, and she is my computer tech expert, and she taught me a lot yesterday about computers in just 3 or 4 hours time. And she was affable, she was gregarious, she was courteous, non-judgmental, and you know, it's just a breath of fresh air when you come from the kind of place that I've just come from, where everybody wants to look at you as if you're some kind of animal, or everyone wants to look at you as if, you know, you had to do it because you're here. So when I meet people like the great Bob Blazier, and the great Robert Sheehan, Sheahen, Google the guy. Mr. Sheehan is the first lunch date I had since being out of prison. Mr. Sheehan took me to lunch. Drove in from Beverly Hills to take an ex-con to lunch and explain to me how he knows that I'm a human being and how he is not one of these kind of guys who has the audacity to look down on anybody. Just a great man. And I certainly enjoyed our lunch together, and I enjoyed being able to talk with him. He's the kind of guy who's extremely interested in other people and what makes other people tick, things of that nature. And so it was just a very refreshing meeting with him, and he has done things to help me since I've been out that I won't put on the airwaves. But I thank God for Mr. Sheehan, and he is a great, great man. And I thank God for Attorney Robert D. Blazier. He is also a great, great man. And in this day and age, ladies and gentlemen, when we're dealing with a lot of racial issues, and we're dealing with a lot of racism, etc., and all of us want to talk about the race problems that we have in this country, I just think that it is wrong that we don't also talk about the good. You know, the old folks used to say that bad news will travel all over the world before good news even gets out of the bed in the morning. They also said that a lie will travel all over the world before the truth gets out of bed in the morning. And so it's just very, very, very striking to me that these kind of things don't get enough attention. And so I was moved. I was honored. I was just touched by the way that Mr. Sheehan helped me and the way that Bob Blazier helped me. And keep in mind, both of these are white men, okay, who don't owe me a dime, don't owe me the time of day, but they went out of their way independently and individually to say, you know what, I don't believe he did this. This man was wrongly convicted, and the system has abused and mistreated Sherman D. Manning, and I'm going to help him. And so while you're listening out there, while we're talking about the racism that this country faces, and we have a right to do so, while we're talking about chumps like the guy Donald, whose last name I'm not even going to call, and his narcissism and selfishness, always remember that there are also some good people in this world. And I understand our desire or inclination to speak on subjects that are evil. I understand, because I saw some stuff in prison that if I told you about it, you wouldn't sleep for a week. And I know that sounds cliche. That sounds like something I came up with for a tweet. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to get into it yet, but I will tell you again. If I told you some of the things I saw in prison, some of the things I saw men do to other men, you would not sleep for a week. I saw some evil things in that system. And quite frankly, some of the evil things I saw were actually done by inmates and not by prison guards. Chew on that for a little while. Meditate on that for a little while. Some of the most heinous, evil, wicked, vicious, sadistic, cruel, unusual, terroristic, racist, vicious, violent, belligerent, bellicose people I ever met in my lifetime wear green uniforms in the California prison system. Sergeant Joseph Stratton, a devil. Ross Myers, a devil. Jeff McCumber, a devil. Dave Boffman, a devil. Jimmy McCartney, a devil. Orozco Donovan, a devil. Wally Tucker at Pleasant Valley, a devil. D.O. Kreiner at Pleasant Valley, Uncle Tom and devil. I could go on and on, ladies and gentlemen. T. Negretti at Pleasant Valley, a devil. Wicked, evil, cunning, sadistic, killers, Green Wall members. The biggest gang in the state of California. There's really a dispute. It's not the Bloods, not the Crips, not Nuestra Familia, not the Mexican Mafia, none of that. It's the California peace officers, the Green Wall, and the Thin Blue Line, the LAPD. And as I said, read about them, read about this in my book, The Truth About O.J. Simpson, Race, Class, Money, and Justice. It is available at your local bookstores. It is also available at Amazon.com. I am Sherman D. Manning. I'll be back later on for more specific issues-oriented talk and monologues. Text your friend. Email them. Instant message them. Go on Instagram or any other kind of gram you can go on, as long as it's not a gram of cocaine, because we're anti-drug on this show. And let them know that Sherman D. Manning will be on the air and that we want them to tune in. We want to talk about it. We want to our judicial system and the American justice system per se. We have got to do something differently. We've got to turn this thing around. And the only way